My name is Debbie Golt, and the book I've chosen is called Under the Udala Trees by Chinelo Okparanta. Well, it's part autobiography and part expanded. Also a book that is a statement, quite an interesting political statement about the development of Nigeria, Biafra, back to Nigeria. The narrative is a young girl whose name I'm going to check. She's called Ijeoma. She lives in the area of Nigeria that was Biafra in many people's hearts, still is. So she lived there. When she was in a comfortable middle-class family, and when she was 11, her father was killed. Everything changes, absolutely everything changes, and the war is raging. So she's sent away up country to school, to a boarding school, to be safe. And it's at the school, she makes a very close friend at the school, another child who's also similarly been displaced. And they just get to know each other, they like each other, they don't know anything about how life works, how physicality works, sexuality works. But at 11, 12, you can still fall in love. So they fall in love. And it's really difficult because they're girls and there's no name for what they're doing. And they manage, because they're girls, no one thinks anything of it. But then gradually things emerge. Eventually they're discovered. And because that just isn't understood or done in Nigeria, Biafra, wherever. It's actually made to study the Bible very closely, look at where she sinned, look at the abomination that occurred. She's removed from the school, from her friend, returned to her mother, and just things get very, very hard for her, and she absorbs all of this and feels very difficult about herself. And eventually she studies, also, her life develops. She does marry, she marries well, she marries a kind man, they build a solid relationship and have children. But during this time, somehow she's back in touch with her friend. It just happens naturally. She visits her in another town. At first, they're just friends. Then it does further develop. And also is aware of the nature of her relationship with her friend, and things go very sour. And in the end, she has to make a choice, and she chooses her friend. What's the book? I'm going to give the book 5 because it's a very unusual book, and it's one I didn't expect to find because it is extremely well written. You can identify and feel for the characters. That's really, really important. You understand her pain, except that it's very poignant because it was published in, I think, 2015, 2016, not long after Nigeria actually revoked any progression on same-sex relationships. So it was actually a very timely book.